Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the Principal's Office. I am so glad you are here. My name is Jamal Maxim. I'm an igniter of champion leaders, CEO of Lead Like a Champion, and my assignment in life is to help you lead change and to ignite you to operate in the supernatural so you can lead and fulfill your leadership assignment. And so today is a day that might be different from the other Wednesdays, depending on which Wednesdays you catch me on. Yes, we're going to talk about leadership content. Yes, we're going to talk about how it applies to you as a coach or a school leader. But today we're going to focus on the supernatural. A friend of mine shared that what she heard God say is that this is supernatural September. And so I grabbed hold of that and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I was feeling that same thing. And so during my time in prayer, because I talk about leading from a kingdom perspective, and I believe the best way to lead is from your faith, and you should be praying and talking to God about your leadership, about the places you are leading and the people you are leading, because it's one thing to have the concepts of leadership down, it's one thing to have the theory down and work on the art of leadership and connecting with people, but it's another thing when you do it from a place of faith, because the Bible says that leadership is a spiritual gift. Leadership is a gift to you, but you also are a gift as a leader. And so what I want to talk about is the supernatural aspects of leadership and how leadership involves a spiritual component. There's a lot of research that talks about the spiritual components of leadership and how when you embrace that, it's all about the calling of leadership and the assignment of leadership. And you'll hear me talk about your leadership assignment a lot, because too many people go into leadership positions without recognizing there's an assignment with it. Especially in the school system or a cultural consultant, you think I'm just coming to produce an outcome. More than an outcome, you're on an assignment in order for that outcome to also produce an outcome. Your outcome should be producing something as well. And so we're going to focus on that and talk about the spiritual aspect of leadership. And I'm talking to you today about leading a movement that is beyond you. Because when you are in leadership, leadership is influence. And when you're influencing people, you want to influence them to accomplish the vision. The vision should be so large that it sparks a movement that is beyond you and can continue after you. If you go into a place, you always want to know and ask yourself, is this place better because I was there? Were the lives of people improved because they came in contact with me? And so in order to do that, you want to spark a movement, and that movement has to be large, it has to be expansive, and it can't be based upon you as the star of the show. It has to be so big that even when you've moved on to something else, when you've retired, or even future generations, they still should be operating in the thing that you sparked. While it shouldn't be the same, because it should progressively get better and go to the next level, but it should be the thing that you are able to spark that has generational impact, not just generational impact for this moment, but generational impact after you. And that's how you make lasting change. All right, so the first of all, let's dig into this leading a movement that's beyond you. So first, in order to have the greatest impact on the people you are serving as a leader, you want to lead a movement. You don't want to just lead a school, you don't want to just lead a business, you want to lead a movement. The business and the school is the vehicle for the movement. I'll say that again. Your business or your school is the vehicle for the movement. And so what you are doing has to be larger than the school or your business. And so you don't want to just lead that part. You want to lead the movement, because that is how you can have the greatest level of impact. You want to have impact. While leadership is influence, your influence is designed, or should be designed, to make pathways and give entryways for impact. because that's what you want. If you're influencing people without impact, you're actually wasting the platform and the stature that God has given you. If you're just there because you're thinking you want to bankroll and make some money, you're wasting the platform and not fulfilling the assignment. Because impact is greater than money, because impact will draw money, but you can also have money without making an impact. And you don't want to get towards the end of your life and recognize that you missed opportunities to make life better, not just for someone else that you directly connect to, but the generations after you that will benefit from the movement that you have started, the change that you have initiated, or the progress you have accelerated. And so you want to make sure that you want to lead a movement. Now, a movement is a series of organized activities working toward an objective. It's an organized effort to promote or attain an end. So it's a series of organized activities. It's a series of structured activities, of strategic activities that you engage in to produce a particular result. And so the vision should be in alignment with the movement that you are sparking, and every activity should be connected to the fulfillment of the vision and the fueling of the movement. Now, you may be saying, "Well, Jamal, I thought you said this was Supernatural September. How does this refer to being in the supernatural?" Because it's going to take the wisdom of God in order for you to spark and to maintain, and as we say in the body of Christ, steward a movement. Because there are a lot of people that start movements that have nothing to do with making lives better, but is only based upon their own perspective or their own opinion. As a kingdom focused leader, you do not want to spark a movement based on your opinion, your thoughts, or even your own intellect. The movements that you spark or ignite should be a movement that brings heaven to earth, that causes people to experience an aspect of God, whether it be through your services or through the school or whatever, that they would not have experienced without you. Because movements should be about aligning and correcting things and getting them back in alignment with the original intent that God has for it. And so, again, a movement is defined as a series of organized events, meaning it's not just a one-time thing, a one-time event, or a one-time experience, or I ran this challenge one time, or we did this one year, or this one time at band camp. That is not a movement. A movement is strategic, and it's a series of events. And it's not based upon how many events you do where you try to fill up your calendar and do something every month. The movement is based upon how strategic you are and the results you put into it. That's why I encourage people, when you're planning experiences, one, plan an experience, not an event. And when you're planning experiences, you want to plan it in a way where you think through every aspect, as much of it as possible, so that you can have the greatest impact. Which means you can't rush to do an experience, and you can't try to say, "Hey, I want to do this often." If you're going to do them extremely frequently, then you need to have a plan of succession from event to event. Now, hopefully that's helping you, because your movement is a series that moves them towards the objective. And so when you are planning your experience, you need to think about, what is the objective? What is the place that I'm moving people to in this movement? And the movement should be following a move of God. So now the next thing is this, and I alluded to it earlier. Your vision, the assignment that you have as a leader, should be large enough to spark a movement. If it's not sparking a movement, I would challenge you that you might be thinking too small. If your vision isn't large enough to spark a movement, then you may have reduced it from the original thing that you receive, that God has given it to you. And so it should be large enough to spark a movement, and it has to be larger than any one person or group. The movement has to be bigger than you. It has to be bigger than your present team so that there is room for people who will come to you to rally around the fulfillment of it, who can then take leadership of different aspects of it. Because if you can do everything in the movement, then it's extremely too small and you are overworking yourself. But if you have to delegate and develop a dream team, then you know is to the place where it's beyond you. And if you can accomplish it on your own or in your own strength, the movement is too small. The movement should be large enough that it has to happen by a supernatural assistance of God. That's how large the movement should be and how large your vision should be. And while you can, where it's so big, it's challenging to see the process in between where you are and the fulfillment. When you get a vision that size, you know this isn't just a business. This isn't just we're educating kids this year. This is a movement that goes beyond your present time frame and expands into multiple years and decades of impact. I hope you caught that. And so let's go to the next thing. The movement should be based upon the specific transformation that you are assigned to bring. Your movement should be based upon your leadership assignment. And in your assignment, remember I told you there are two things you're going to either be doing: accelerating progress or leading change. Either way, while the strategies are different, the outcome should be the same, which is transformation for the people you're serving, taking them from where they are to where they need to be, taking something that's not benefiting people and changing it and replacing it with something that benefits everybody. We call that concept justice. When you every leadership component, every component of leadership and leading movement should involve this aspect of executing justice, meaning making things right where they are wrong, making things beneficial for the people you're serving, making it so that they can fulfill their purposes and their destiny. And so your movement has to be directly connected to your assignment. If you're trying to launch a movement that's not connected to your assignment, guess what? There will not be the supernatural ability on you to spark that movement and to lead that movement and to steward that movement. So it has to be connected to your assignment. Now, the next thing about leading a movement that's beyond you is the movement should have, check this, specific language. It should have a specific sound and a specific way of operating. I'll say that again. Your movement should have a specific language. Everyone that's a part of executing the vision for accomplishing it, there should be a common language that you all say. It should have a specific sound. People should be able to tell the people who are connected to you by the way they talk, because you're speaking the same thing. That's what happened with Peter. They said his speech betrayed him. The way you talk should be in alignment with the movement, and everyone in connection with you and the movement should have that same language. Not that they should be carbon copies of you, because as a leader, you don't duplicate yourself, you expand leadership, which is different. They shouldn't be carbon copies, but there should be a common language. And that language should be a language of hope, a language of expectation, as well as a language of strategy. Then there also should be a specific sound that resonates from what you're doing. Now, I can't explain that too deep right now in this setting, but there's a sound of a movement. Movements have a sound, movements have a rhythm. And so your movement should have that specific and unique sound and rhythm that matches your assignment. And then a way of operating, meaning this is how we function. This is the DNA of our team as we steward this movement. All right. And so these are some of the things your movements I have. And so I'm going to give you 4 keys right now to leading the movement that has to be beyond you. Because a lot of times, especially for my friends in education, you're waiting on someone to make change when the change is actually waiting on you to facilitate it. Those of you who are coaching, you're either going into schools or you're working with clients in other areas who want to make change, and you have to be the facilitator of that change. But I want you to think about sparking a movement where you may be changing and combating a deficiency or a specific problem, either one group at a time if you're doing group coaching, one person at a time if it's one-on-one, but you are specifically sparking a movement of people doing a specific thing, living a specific way, and eradicating a specific problem. And so here are four things I want you to remember as you are leading a movement. Here they are. Oh, for those of you that's watching, remember to like, comment, and share, and save this video if it's been a blessing to you. Remember, this video podcast is sponsored by Lead Like a Champion. And those of you listening on Clubhouse, feel free to click the greenhouse at the top and join the Igniting Champion Leaders Club. Those of you on Facebook, you can now join as well the Igniting Champion Leaders Facebook community by just accepting the invite or searching it out and join the group. All right, so here we go. I'm going to give you 4 keys. And I don't know why I always give you keys, but keys denote access and authority. So know that these are 4 things that are going to give you access and authority as you lead and influence this movement that has to be beyond you. All right, so number 1 is this. You must embrace the reality that the leadership assignment is bigger than you thought. It is bigger than you thought, and it's okay. A lot of times people step into it and you don't know what you're getting into until you actually get into it. And then you might be thinking, oh man, what did I get myself into? Do I really want this? If you're leading with the right posture or the right heart posture, you're going to ask yourself that. But you have to be okay with the fact that the movement is bigger than you thought, that you thought it was going to be just one thing, but it's expanding and turning out to be something totally different. And so accept that it's bigger than you thought. And here's some strategy advice for you. Resist the urge that may come from others or even within yourself to reduce the vision to something that appears to be more manageable. I'm going to say that again. Resist the urge that may come from other people or even come from within yourself to reduce the vision to something that may appear to be more manageable. You might be thinking, oh, it's easier if I just do this, or if I cut that out, that'll be easier, or maybe we should keep it simple and just do this, or maybe I should focus and just do this. There's a difference between keeping something simple, focusing, and reducing your vision. And don't let those lines get blurred. You can have your processes very simple. You can be extremely focused on your assignment, which I encourage you need to do in this season. But that does not mean you reduce the vision to something that appears to be manageable. And that does not mean you shorten the impact of the movement because you've reduced the vision. Don't do it. All right, so number 2. Understand that you're going to need a dream team, which will consist of the right people in the right positions. Now, remember, your team is going to have to be developed through your intentional efforts to help them expand their capacity. One, you got to have your dream team, and you need to properly place them according to their skills and their gifting and their strengths so that they can flourish and have the greatest opportunity for success as they help you fulfill the vision, accomplish the assignment, and steward the movement. But then at the same time, know that they're going to be rough around the edges in certain areas, and you have to be intentional, not just to help the people that you're serving, that's being impacted by you serving. Now you have to be the leader of leaders, and you have to impact your team. So you have to lead your team, who then will be leading and impacting those in that you're serving directly. So you have this like indirect line of serving and developing. And so you have, remember, you have to intentionally set up opportunities to pour into them and help them grow and increase and expand their capacity, because you cannot fulfill the assignment alone, and you need them at their sharpest self to fulfill the assignment. Now, of course, a lot of dynamics go into that. What if they don't want to listen? What if they say, okay, I don't feel like this is for me, that kind of thing? Cool. You know, you can't lead who you need, even though you need people. And so if you act needy, then they'll manipulate you, and that's not going to work. And so, but you have to trust that the right people are coming. And just because they're rough around the edges, that doesn't make them the wrong people. It just means they need to be developed before you can really launch them out or ignite them into the assignment in a greater way. All right, so here's number 3. All of your gifts, your talents, your experiences were developed in the past in order to ensure your present success. Everything that you have experienced, everything that you've learned, all of the gifting that is placed in you by God, all of that was to help you experience success today, right now. And then the success you're experiencing today is the springboard that accelerates and propels you into greater levels of influence. In order to step into the greater levels of influence, it is the success you are having today that accelerates and pushes you into those greater levels. But your success today is based upon how you handled the challenges of yesterday, the victories of yesterday, and the skill set that you developed from yesterday. And so all of the experiences that you felt like didn't matter, or you were wondering why I did this, or you were just doing it just to be doing it, or trying to bide your time, it fits. Just like when I was in high school, I stopped being an entrepreneur. I don't know why. I do know why. In order to go work at Burger King. I had my own landscaping business. I had my truck. I had my lawnmower. I had my weed whacker. Folks was paying me in cash. I was a high school kid making bank. But then I stopped to go work at Burger King because my friends were working there and they seemed fun. But when I got there, I recognized the people saw how I behaved, and they immediately put me on a leadership track, and they trained me in management, sent me to their management training program and all of that. So imagine me being in high school, a high school junior at the time, 11th grade kid, being an assistant manager of a Burger King where I had to lead adults as well as my peers. And so that was the thing, the catalyst that really set me up for leadership, and not beyond the grooming that my mother and grandmother did. And so that, what I thought was an odd job, was actually something that helped me develop my skill set that carried me in leadership as I began my leadership journey. So what is it in your life that you thought you was just doing for the moment, or just doing it just to get by because you felt like you had to in that moment, or just something you thought you were just interested in, but actually was a God ordained step to create an asset inside of you in order to fulfill your assignment today? And so I would think about that. I really would. And so number 4 is this. The last key is this. Your leadership assignment is about impact, which might not always be measurable by traditional methods of gathering data. Now, of course, especially in education, we talk about gathering data, talking about is this data, evidence-based practices, gather the data. How are the kids performing, getting the data? And then when you become a coach or a consultant, then it's the data, the metrics on social media, the data from testimonials, the data. Well, just recognize while those things are essential, because data should inform you, not drive you, number 1. And then number 2, some metrics cannot be measured. And so some aspects of your impact might not be measurable by the traditional methods of gathering the data. And so you want to find unconventional ways to capture the impact that you are having, on people, as evidence of the movement, but also to fuel momentum. Testimonials fuel momentum. People even just saying thank you and sharing how you were impactful to them builds momentum and is fuel when you capture it for your movement. Because when people see things are happening, it generates this excitement and this buzz that makes them want to be a part of the movement because things are happening. Nobody wants to be a part of something when nothing is happening. And so, but I'm going to tell you that it's happening. That's a phrase that I heard from someone else I know. And I'm just telling you, now we are in this season as leaders, as kingdom focused leaders, where it is happening. The movement of God is happening. And so now is the time for you to spark and lead the movement and to fulfill your leadership assignment. All right, so that's it I have for everyone that's watching on the video portion. I do want to remind you that if you would like, or if you feel like you need mentorship in leadership as well as spiritual mentorship to help you operate in the supernatural, I want you to connect with me. The Leadership Accelerator is available for you to join. So you can go to jamalmaxim.org/strategy session, get on my calendar so we can get this going and get you started. And I can answer any question you may have about what the mentorship looks like. And so again, the Leadership Accelerator is open. Reach out to me so I can help you not only lead from the supernatural and lead and have a supernatural standpoint in your leadership, but also so I can help you steward and spark and ignite your movement. All right, so that's it. For those of you watching me, I will see you tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, for the Dismantling Spiritualism podcast, where we'll talk about another topic. Until then, remember, I want you to be successful, and I want you to lead like a champion. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you're not on Clubhouse right now, click the link. If you're on my email list, click the link. If you're not on my email list, go to Clubhouse, get to the Igniting Champion Leaders Club so you can join the discussion, because I want to hear your thoughts about what I just said. And those of you that are in the room, hand raising is on. I want you to come to the stage and I want to hear your thoughts. All right, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Lead like a champion. Bye-bye.